When Jon Stewart extended an unedited interview invitation on The Daily Show, Karoline Leavitt briefly thought, "This is my chance to set things straight." She immediately agreed, ready to face him head-on, but Stewart came out swinging, calling her Trump's Gen Z puppet and turning the signal leak scandal into a nationwide punchline. Instead of panicking or backing down, Leavitt stood her ground. She faced Stewart directly and landed a shocking counterpunch that left him visibly flustered. Before we dive into the story, remember to comment where you're watching from and subscribe so you don't miss the latest updates. Jon Stewart, the satire king of The Daily Show, declared, "I want Karoline Leavitt on my show. An unedited interview, just the truth." The invitation was no accident. Stewart was clearly targeting Leavitt, the young White House spokesperson known for her tough style and the infamous signal message leak tied to Trump. Stewart strode onto the stage with his signature smirk, the crowd roaring as he took his seat. Tapping the desk lightly, his eyes gleamed, ready for a takedown. "Welcome to tonight," Stewart began, casual but loaded with intent. The audience laughed as he wasted no time, leaning forward with a mocking tone. "Who's Leavitt? She's Trump's Gen Z puppet, the youngest press secretary ever. But don't let her age fool you. She sparked a scandal the whole country's talking about. The signal leak, a secret chat planning a strike on the Houthis. And someone, not saying it was her, okay, it was her, accidentally added Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic to the group." The crowd erupted in laughter, some whistling as Stewart shook his head in fake exasperation. "She calls it fake news. I call it cosmic-level incompetence," he jabbed. "I thought she'd be good at covering tracks, since that's her job, right? But no, she let the world know Trump's plans before he could even tweet MAGA. Maybe she was too busy praying to check the chat list." He raised an eyebrow and mimicked praying with dripping sarcasm, sending the audience into hysterics. "I'm not against faith," Stewart quipped, "but if God said don't add Jeffrey, she must have heard invite the whole village instead." Then, Stewart delivered a heavier blow, holding up a large printed photo of a fabricated message. "Karoline, I'll handle the press. Trump, hit the Houthis now. This is what I imagine she sent." He winked at the crowd. "No one's confirmed it, but it looks so real, doesn't it? I bet she sent it, then wondered why everything blew up." The crowd clapped as Stewart shrugged. "I'm just helping her tell the story better since she clearly can't." But he wasn't done. Stewart stood, circled the desk, and stared into the camera as if speaking directly to Leavitt. "Karoline, you tweeted, 'You're not scared of me. You'd come here unedited.' Great. So come on, because I've got questions. How do you explain Signal being Trump's puppet? Or do you just pray to get through me?" He laughed loudly, the crowd cheering, the studio buzzing with energy. "You want unedited? I'll show the world how you fall." In his excitement, Stewart swung his arm too hard, shattering his coffee mug. Glass flew, and a small cut appeared on his hand, blood trickling down. "Oh, wow!" he exclaimed, holding up his bleeding hand with comic surprise. "I'm bleeding for you, Karoline!" The audience roared with laughter. The moment instantly went viral online. Clips of Stewart breaking the mug and joking about Leavitt spread like wildfire. Sitting back down, wiping his hand with a napkin, a half smile on his face, Stewart said, "I'm waiting, Karoline. You said you'd come. Don't let me tell this story alone because I promise it won't be pretty." He winked and moved on to the next segment, leaving the challenge hanging. Social media exploded with "This where Stewart vs. Leavitt." Fans cheered Stewart, would tear her apart, while conservatives fired back that Leavitt would show him. Leavitt grabbed her phone, opened X, and typed, "Stewart, I'm in. I'll be on The Daily Show. Unedited, no running. You want the truth? I'll bring it." She hit send, heart pounding, a small smile creeping onto her face. She set the phone down, ignoring the flood of notifications pouring in. She'd chosen to step into this fight, and she'd do it her way. Backstage, Stewart prepped for the interview. Calling his production team together, he pointed at a whiteboard covered in notes. "Find me everything on Leavitt. Every statement, every scandal. Especially Signal. I want to know what she'll say before she opens her mouth. An assistant asked. Do you think she can handle it? Stewart laughed, stepping closer to the table. She's 27, works for Trump, and thinks she can beat me on my turf. I'll teach her a lesson in truth, my way. He grabbed a marker, circled Signal on the board, and winked at the team. I won't break a mug this time, but she doesn't stand a chance. The studio lights blazed as Stewart walked out, signature smirk plastered across his face. Waving, he sat at the desk, eyes glinting like a hunter smelling prey. Welcome to tonight, Stewart began, tone light but edged with intent. We've got a special guest, Karoline Leavitt, White House press secretary, who tweeted, I'm not afraid of you and will come here unedited, so let's bring her out. The crowd roared. Leavitt emerged, confident in a sharp navy suit, blonde, hair tied back. She nodded to the audience, then took the seat across from Stewart, locking eyes. Stewart didn't waste a second. Karoline, welcome to The Daily Show. I'm glad you kept your word. Unedited, just like you wanted. But I have to ask, how does it feel sitting here facing a 61-year-old with a mic and some jokes? After the country watched me turn your Signal mess into a comedy routine? Leavitt gave a slight smile, composed. I'm here to tell the truth, Stewart, she replied clearly. You can joke, but I'm not afraid of what you think of me. Stewart raised an eyebrow as if hearing something naive. Oh, the truth. Great, Karoline, because I've got a lot of truth to ask you about. Leaning forward, he launched in. Let's start with Signal. That group chat where you accidentally leaked Trump's secret plans to attack the Houthis. Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic was in there, right? How do you explain a reporter getting into the White House's secret military chat? The crowd laughed, and Stewart raised a hand to quiet them. No, wait. You called it fake news, but it's incompetence. So what's your truth here? Leavitt took a soft breath, gaze steady. Stewart, I've said it. It was a misunderstanding blown up by the media like you. That chat wasn't my operation, and I didn't add anyone. I'm here to represent the president, not play spy games like you imagine. Stewart laughed loudly, slapping the desk. A misunderstanding? Karoline, you're the press secretary. Your job is to control the narrative, not give Jeffrey Goldberg a free backstage pass to the White House. The audience cracked up again as Stewart winked at them. I bet she added Jeffrey thinking he'd write a Trump puff piece. Leavitt gripped her chair tighter but kept calm. You can joke about it, but I'm not here to explain every text to you. I work to serve the American people, not to entertain you. Stewart tilted his head, feigning surprise. Serve the American people? Then why are you Trump's Jenny? Z-puppet? You're 27, Karoline? Do you really know what you're doing? Or just reading what Trump tells you? The crowd cheered as Stewart pressed harder. I'm not saying you're not smart. You got this gig. But do you ever wonder if you're just a young face for Trump to show off? The question hit like a punch. The audience buzzed. Leavitt pursed her lips but fired back fast. I'm nobody's puppet, Stewart. I'm here because I believe in what we're doing. Stewart smirked, not missing a beat. So what do you believe when Trump tells you to cover up stuff like Signal? Or do you just pray to get through tough questions? He mimed praying again, hands clasped, sending the audience into laughter. Not against faith, Karoline, but if you're praying to lie better, God might be busy elsewhere. Stewart stood, circling the desk like a stage actor. Picture this. Karoline in the White House, phone buzzing with Trump's text. Hit the Houthis now. And she replies, don't worry, I'll handle the press. Then boom, Jeffrey. Goldberg pops up and the world knows. He held up the fake printed message from earlier, audience howling. I don't know if she sent that, but it looks so real, right? It seemed like she was learning on the job by screwing everything up. Jon Stewart cut in sharply. You're making up a story that's not real, but she didn't back down. Stewart interrupted again instantly. Not real, Karoline? I don't need to make it up. You leaked Signal. You work for Trump and now you think I'll go easy on you because you're young? Nope. He turned to the audience. She wanted unedited, and I'm giving her exactly that. The truth. No mercy. The crowd erupted in applause. Stewart sat back, tapping the desk, eyes daring her to respond. Leavitt sat there, eyes locked on Stewart, hands resting lightly on her chair. She knew he was trying to humiliate her, to make her a laughingstock for millions. The audience was still laughing and clapping. The studio felt like a Roman arena, with Stewart as the unbeatable gladiator. "I'm not here to be your clown," she said quietly but firmly enough for the mic to catch. Stewart laughed loudly. "Good, because I'm not here to make you happy, either." The crowd buzzed with applause and laughter. Riding high on confidence after relentlessly hammering Karoline through the first half, Stewart sat back down, smirking. "Karoline, I've got to hand it to you. It's brave coming here," he said, dripping with sarcasm. "But you haven't answered anything beyond 'I'm not a puppet,' and I tell the truth. So what's your truth? What do you have besides prayers and that disastrous signal chat?" The crowd laughed hard again. Stewart raised his hands, expectantly, waiting for an answer he knew wouldn't come. Leavitt took a deep breath, and for the first time in the interview, a small smile appeared on her lips. "Stewart," she began, calm but sharp, "you want the truth. You say you're here to expose me, but I think it's time I expose you." The audience fell silent, stunned by the shift in her tone. Stewart raised an eyebrow, smirking. "Oh, you're going to expose me? Go for it, Karoline. I'm waiting." She leaned forward, eyes blazing. "You love mocking me about Signal, about being Trump's puppet, but have you ever looked at yourself?" Her tone was steady, defiant. "You call yourself a truth-teller, but what did you say about free speech when it suited you?" Leavitt gestured to her team off stage. The big screen lit up with an old Daily Show clip of Stewart praising the previous administration's social media censorship policies, saying, "Sometimes we need limits to protect democracy," the audience murmured. Stewart frowned, clearly caught off guard. "That's you, Stewart," Leavitt said, pointing at the screen as the clip ended. "You backed limits on free speech when it went against what you didn't like. But now you blast. Trump and me for the same thing. Who's the propagandist here?" The crowd stayed silent for a moment before scattered applause broke out. Stewart forced a laugh. "That's old news, Karoline. I've evolved. You can't use that against me, kid." But Leavitt cut him off. "Your past shows you're not as neutral as you claim. You're only neutral when it's convenient. I don't pretend like you do." Stewart opened his mouth to retort, but she didn't give him the chance. She stood, stepped past her chair, and faced the audience directly. "He wants to humiliate me, make me a joke because I'm young, because I work for Trump, because I pray," she said, her voice echoing through the studio. "But I've got a question for you, Stewart, and all of you." She turned, pointing at him. "Do you dare criticize the people funding this show? The big corporations, the billionaires you avoid mentioning? Or are you just good at attacking a 27-year-old because she's an easy target?" The audience froze. Then a sudden wave of loud applause erupted from the back. Stewart faltered for the first time, losing his cool. "Did you learn that from Trump?" he joked, trying to regain control. "I mean, attacking the interviewer. That's straight out of his playbook, right?" But Leavitt didn't smile. She stepped closer, eyes unwavering. "No, Stewart. This isn't Trump's trick. This is the truth you're afraid to face. You mock my faith, but at least I'm not pretending like you, a propagandist dressed up as a comedian. I'm not here to be your clown, and I won't let you turn me into a puppet in your story." The studio erupted in applause, this time for Leavitt, not Stewart. He raised his hands, trying to calm the mood. All right. You scored a point there, Karoline, but don't think you're off the hook that easily. I've still got questions." However, his voice lacked its earlier certainty. The audience could see he was trying to mask his discomfort. Leavitt sat back down, smiling faintly. "Ask away, Stewart," she said calmly. "But this time, ask something real, not cheap jokes." Stewart tilted his head, attempting to regain his footing. "You're good. I'll give you that. he said, tapping the desk. But you still haven't explained signal. You can't keep deflecting with old clips of me forever. Leavitt shot back instantly. I'm not deflecting. Signal. Was a mistake, I've said that, but it doesn't define me. You define yourself by attacking others, but when you're called out, you dodge. That's the difference between us. The audience clapped again, louder and longer this time. Stewart forced a laugh, raising his hands like a temporary surrender. You play tough, Karoline, he said, his voice tinged with reluctant admiration. I invited you here for unedited, and you're giving me a real fight. He turned to the audience. See this? She's no puppet, at least not tonight. The crowd laughed, but this time the laughter wasn't entirely in Stewart's favor. Levity had done the unthinkable. She didn't just survive, she turned the tables. Leaning toward Stewart, her voice low but clear for the mic, she said, You want the truth, Stewart? Here's the truth. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not here for you to humiliate me. I'm here to show the country that you're not the only one who gets to tell the story. Stewart looked at her, a flicker of surprise in his eyes, then laughed loudly. Kid, you just turned my show into yours. The audience stood, clapping as the studio shook with unprecedented energy. Stewart sank back into his chair, forcing a strange smile to hide his unease. Meanwhile, Leavitt held her steady gaze, hands resting lightly on her chair like a fighter who had just won the round, though the interview wasn't over. A short clip of Leavitt playing Stewart's old video and challenging him to question himself was posted on social media by the Daily Show team right after airing. Within minutes, the internet exploded. Leavitt Stewart shot to the top of X's trending list. Conservatives, who'd been waiting for a moment like this, reacted first. Karoline Leavitt just knocked out Jon Stewart, a prominent account tweeted, attaching the clip of Leavitt saying, Who's the propagandist here? The tweet quickly racked up thousands of likes and retweets. Another wrote, She's 27 and shut down Stewart, a 61-year-old. This is Gen Z's comeback queen. Trump supporters across X started calling her the young conservative hero, sharing memes of Leavitt at a mic with captions like, When you walk into the tiger's den and make the tiger run. Another viral meme showed Stewart looking flustered with the text, When the Gen Z kid schools the old man. But it wasn't just conservatives celebrating. Even some neutral viewers were impressed by Leavitt's wit and guts. I don't like Trump, but Karoline just did the impossible. One user commented. She used Stewart's own words to smack him. That's a top-tier counterpunch. Another posted, Stewart thought he'd humiliate her, but now he's the clown. Leavitt 1. Stewart 0. The video of Leavitt daring Stewart to criticize the show's funders was shared tens of thousands of times with comments like, She just made the Daily Show her stage. Stewart's fans, used to him dominating these clashes, were thrown into chaos. Some tried to defend him. Stewart was just caught off guard. He's still the satire king. Others couldn't deny his loss. I love Stewart, but he got taken down. A fan tweeted. Leavitt was too sharp. He didn't see it coming. Some criticized him more harshly, saying he went too far, mocking her faith, and now was paying the price. One account even posted a meme of Stewart breaking his coffee mug from an earlier episode captioned, When you think you'll win, but get wrecked on your own turf. Meanwhile, news outlets and influencers jumped in fast. Breitbart ran the headline, Karoline Leavitt teaches Jon Stewart a lesson in truth, hailing her as the future of the conservative movement. In contrast, liberal sites like Vox wrote, Leavitt may have scored, but she's still Trump's mouthpiece. Don't be fooled by this stunt. Still, even critics had to admit her skill. A YouTube commenter wrote, I don't support her, but that flip was undeniable. Stewart met his match. On X, harsh Leavitt knockout Stewart started trending, rivaling Tasha Leavitt TV. A fan-made short video pairing Leavitt's clip of Stewart with sweet victory music hit hundreds of thousands of views in hours. One user posted, She didn't just survive, she made Stewart the joke. This is the drama of the year. Another meme spread widely showed Leavitt with the quote, "I'm not here to be your clown," next to a flustered Stewart captioned, "When you invite the wrong guest," on air. Conservatives kept fueling the hype. A big account tweeted, "Karoline Leavitt proves youth and faith can beat the liberal media. Trump should be proud." Another added, "She just showed Stewart who really holds the mic." MAGA groups dubbed her Killer Karoline, and some even suggested she run for office later. She's 27 and took down Stewart. Imagine what's next. At 8:09 p.m., a tweet from her went viral, quickly amassing thousands of likes. Meanwhile, Stewart's team scrambled to manage the fallout. The Daily Show's official account posted a short interview clip with the caption, "Karoline Leavitt brought a fight, but don't worry, Stewart's not done." But the response was a mixed storm of reactions. One commenter wrote, "Stewart got owned, don't try to spin it." Another added, "She made the show hers. Respect." Still, some loyal Stewart fans defended him, saying, "He'll come back, stronger." This was just a slip. Yet it was clear. Leavitt's counterattack had left an indelible mark. The social media buzz following Karoline Leavitt's shocking comeback on The Daily Show didn't fade overnight. As the full interview aired, the nation buzzed about how she turned Jon Stewart's attempt to humiliate her into a resounding victory. Hashtags like Our Leavitt Stewart and Our Leavitt Knockout Stewart dominated X, formerly Twitter, for days, with millions replaying the clip of Leavitt dropping Stewart's own old video and daring him to face himself. But this wasn't just a fleeting viral moment. It marked a major turning point for both Leavitt and Stewart, sending lasting ripples through the political and media landscape. Inside the White House, Leavitt unexpectedly became a central figure. Hours after the interview, Donald Trump, never one to miss a chance to brag, tweeted, "Karoline Leavitt just showed Jon Stewart and the fake news media the truth. Fantastic. She's the best spokesperson." Trump's public praise was more than a compliment. It confirmed that Leavitt had solidified her place in his administration. Close advisors like Stephen Miller and Kayleigh McEnany, who had urged her to avoid Stewart, now had to admit she had pulled off a stunner. She didn't just survive the encounter, she beat him. An insider told Breitbart, "Trump loves that." Leavitt's reputation soared not only in the White House, but also among conservatives. MAGA groups and influencers like Charlie Kirk hailed her as a rising Gen Z conservative star. A Newsmax feature praised her. At 27, Karoline Leavitt did what many seasoned politicians wouldn't dare: take down and defeat a liberal media giant. Small polls on X showed her gaining massive support among conservatives, with many urging her to run for office someday. One user tweeted, "She took down Stewart. Imagine her in the Senate," gathering thousands of likes. Leavitt's tough Gen Z spokesperson image took shape, transforming her from a background player in Trump's administration into a new conservative icon. But not everyone celebrated her win. Liberals and die-hard Stewart fans dismissed it as a staged performance to appease Trump. A Daily Beast article called her just a talking puppet, arguing that using Stewart's old clip doesn't prove she's talented, it shows she's well-trained. Still, even critics had to acknowledge she had changed the game. An MSNBC commentator admitted, "She's smarter than we thought. Stewart underestimated her, and now she's got momentum. The right will milk this." For Stewart, the encounter was a rare blow to his reputation. On the next Daily Show episode, he tried to bounce back with his usual humor. "I invited Karoline Leavitt on, and she turned me into the sidekick on my own show," he joked, raising his hands in mock surrender. The audience laughed, but online reactions were mixed. One fan tweeted, "Stewart's still a legend, but he lost this one." Another was harsher. "He went too far with Leavitt, and she made him look like a bully." Some loyal fans held out, hope saying, "He'll come back. It's just a minor loss." Though Stewart didn't lose all his influence, he still commanded a devoted audience and a reputation for challenging power. The clash left a crack in his image. Media critics dissected his performance. The Atlantic noted that while Stewart had always excelled at facing opponents, he faltered against someone like Leavitt who fought back hard. Some pointed out that mocking Leavitt's faith backfired, making him look like a personal attacker rather than a sharp satirist. One journalist wrote, "He underestimated her youth, and now he's paying with credibility." Meanwhile, Leavitt's victory became a rallying symbol for conservatives battling left-leaning media. Her subsequent White House press briefings drew unprecedented attention, with reporters probing her on the signal scandal and Trump's policies. She handled it all with newfound confidence. "I face Stewart. Your questions don't scare me," she said with a slight smile, silencing the room. Her confidence was no empty boast. It came from proving herself on the biggest stage. As the signal scandal, once Stewart's main weapon, faded from public attention, Leavitt used her win to reshape the narrative. She emphasized that she was a spokesperson for the people, not the incompetent figure Stewart tried to paint. "I'm not here to play spy games. I'm here to serve," she told Fox News, reinforcing her image. Trump's congressional allies began naming her as a standout young talent, hinting she might take on bigger roles soon. The showdown between Karoline Leavitt and Jon Stewart on The Daily Show settled, but its echoes resonated across social media, White House press rooms, and coffee shop conversations nationwide. Leavitt, once the target Stewart aimed to humiliate, emerged as an unexpected warrior, strengthening her place in Trump's administration and the conservative movement. Stewart, still a satire titan, faced a rare scratch on his reputation. But this wasn't just a story about who won or lost. It offered deeper lessons on power, accountability, and generational clashes in a turbulent media age. For Leavitt, the victory proved she wasn't just the TikTok spokesperson or Gen Z puppet, Stewart mocked. At 27, she showed youth isn't a weakness but a strength when paired with intelligence and courage. Her shocking counterpunch, using Stewart's own past words to flip the script, was more than a clever tactic. It was a declaration that she wouldn't be defined by others. "I'm not here to be your clown," she said in the interview, a line that became a rallying cry for supporters. She represented a new generation of conservatives ready to confront media giants head-on instead of dodging or enduring them. Inside. The White House Leavitt's win wasn't just personal. It signaled a shift in how the Trump administration would communicate publicly. With Trump's praise placing her front and center, her subsequent press briefings displayed a new confidence. "I'm not afraid of anything," she said in one appearance, her gaze steady as it was opposite Stewart. She didn't just solidify her position, she raised the bar for conservative spokespeople, proving they could win battles they once avoided. The story of Jon Stewart's attempt to humiliate Karoline Leavitt and her shocking comeback mirrors real America today, a deeply polarized society divided by generations, ideologies, and media. Stewart stood for a seasoned generation wielding satire to attack Leavitt over the signal leak and her loyalty to Trump. Leavitt, a 27-year-old woman, not only endured but struck back, exposing Stewart's contradictions with an old video. From the showdown on The Daily Show to the social media storm trending with Ambar Leavitt knockout Stewart, this saga shows how media power and personal reputation can shift overnight in America's digital age, where everyone has a voice on X or TikTok. Leavitt cemented herself as a young conservative icon, while Stewart faced a rare dent in his once unbeatable image, a reminder that no one is invincible in this polarized era. The lesson? Never underestimate an opponent based on age or appearance, and always be ready to push back. Leavitt won not just with smarts, challenging Stewart on his show's funders, but with resilience under pressure, something Americans can carry into work or personal debates. In a country where social media can make or break you in hours, as seen with Ambar Leavitt knockout Stewart, Always have your own ammo like Leavitt's video counterpunch. And don't let others define your story. Stand up like Leavitt, whether young or old, conservative or liberal. Because in today's America, power belongs to those who take accountability and fight for their voice. Thanks for tuning into the epic drama between Karoline Leavitt and Jon Stewart. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next thrilling media battles. See you in the upcoming video where we'll keep exploring who stands tall in this arena.